Hey guys, welcome back. Houston Math Prep here. In this video, we're continuing our discussion of polynomial graphing, looking at roots and their behavior. If you haven't seen our video on the introduction to roots and their behavior, make sure you go and watch that first to learn all about multiplicity and how that affects the behavior, and then come back here when you're ready. All right, taking this first example, we're going to list each root, its multiplicity, and therefore its associated behavior. We're going to get each root by taking the factor and setting it equal to 0. So in this case, we get x equals 0, which translates to an x-intercept or a root of 0, 0. For our multiplicity, we always look at the exponent of that factor. In this case, we have a multiplicity of 3, since it's x to the third power. And then for the behavior associated with that, we look at, is that multiplicity even or odd? For odd multiplicity, that gives us a behavior of crossing through the x-axis at our root. All right, jumping over to the next factor, we'll get our root by taking our factor, x minus 2, and setting it equal to 0. Adding that 2 over, we'll get a root, or we'll get an x value of 2, which gives us a root of 2, 0. Checking our exponent for our multiplicity, we have that raised to the second power, so our multiplicity is 2, which means that our overall behavior would be even multiplicity or touch behavior. And finally, for our third factor here, setting our factor x plus 1 equal to 0, subtracting that 1 over, we would get x equals negative 1, so a root of negative 1, 0. Looking to our exponent for a multiplicity, since we don't see 1, we know that that is a power of 1, so our multiplicity is 1. Odd multiplicity gives us cross behavior. All right, checking this out again with a new example, we're going to do the same process. We're going to find each root. We're going to list out its multiplicity and then its associated behavior. All right, we know that we will find the root by setting the factor equal to 0. So taking x and setting that equal to 0, we still just have a root of 0, 0. Now here, notice I'm not setting negative x equal to 0, even though that wouldn't change my root. That negative is just a multiplier. It's not part of my factor. So this is just my lead coefficient, and I don't need it as part of my root. So just taking the factor of x. All right, checking out my exponent. In this case, that gives me a multiplicity of 1. And I know that odd multiplicity gives me cross behavior. Moving right along to my next factor of x plus 3 being set equal to 0. If I subtracted over that 3 would give me x equals negative 3. So I would have a root or x-intercept at negative 3, 0. Looking to my exponent on that factor for my multiplicity, I have a multiplicity of 4. Even multiplicity gives touch and bounce back behavior. And last but not least for this one, if I have x minus 1, adding that 1 over, I would get x equals 1, making that 0. So my root is at 1, 0. Looking to my exponent, which I don't see, so I know that's an understood 1. I have a multiplicity of 1. And odd multiplicity is going to give me cross behavior. Alright guys, that does it for this video on examples of finding roots and their behavior. We'll catch you in a future one.